I was 3,000 miles away on a work trip when I decided to rip the Band-Aid off over FaceTime, thinking distance would keep things from exploding. Instead, I watched his face crumple in real time, heard the engine rev, and then the sickening crunch as he slammed his pickup into an oak tree on the side of Route 17. Please listen to every second of this. Before you say a word, was I cruel to confess over a screen? Or was it the safest way to protect myself from what I knew was coming? We had been married 7 years, together 10, with a 7-year-old who collected Pokemon cards and a 4-year-old obsessed with dinosaurs. We own a split-level house in a neighborhood where every lawn is mowed on Saturday and every porch light flickers on at dusk. He runs his own landscaping business sun up to sundown, hands always stained green, boots caked in red clay. I'm a marketing coordinator for a software startup, which means quarterly conferences in cities I used to dream about visiting with him. The trip started as resume boosters. They ended up as escape pods. 2 years ago in Seattle, I met the other guy at a hotel bar mixer. He was a sales rep from Chicago, tall, quick laugh, knew every craft beer on the menu. One drink turned into room service breakfast. I flew home wearing the same clothes and a lie I practiced in the airplane bathroom mirror. It kept happening. Denver, Austin, Orlando. Always the same hotel chain. Always the same excuse. Client dinners that ran late. I learned to pack 2 outfits in my carry-on, one for the conference, one for the nights I never logged in the shared calendar. I told myself it was a parallel life that would never touch the real one. 6 months in, I was wiring him money for emergency flights and deleting airline apps the second I landed. He started piecing it together like a puzzle he didn't want to finish. Random charges on the joint card for bars in cities I'd never mentioned. Flight alerts popping up on his phone because we shared an account. The way I showered the minute I walked through the door, scrubbing hotel soap off my skin. He asked once, casual over takeout tacos, everything good on the road? I laughed too loud, said jet lag was a beast. He nodded, but his eyes stayed on his plate. Then came the night in Nashville when he FaceTimed me unannounced at 11 p.m. hotel time. I was in the other guy's room, robe half open, wine glass in hand. I panicked, ended the call, claimed spotty Wi-Fi. He didn't buy it. The next morning he texted, "When you land, we talk." No excuses. I flew into JFK on a red-eye, kids at his parents' for the weekend. He picked me up at arrivals, face unreadable, truck smelling like fresh-cut grass and gasoline. We drove home in silence thick enough to choke on. He said, "Shower, change. Then we FaceTime from the office so the kids don't hear." I thought he meant a calm discussion. I was wrong. I sat at the desk in our home office walls lined with his landscaping awards, kids' finger paint art framed in dollar store frames. He was in the truck, parked at the job site, engine idling. The FaceTime ringtone sliced the quiet. His face filled the screen. Hard hat pushed back, sweat cutting lines through the dust on his forehead. "Start tucking," he said. "No hello." I swallowed the lump in my throat. I've been having an affair with a guy from the conferences. It's been almost 2 years. I'm ending it today. The camera shook, his hand trembling. His jaw worked like he was chewing glass. 2 years? His voice cracked on the number. I nodded. Tears blurred the screen. "Say his name," I whispered it. The line went dead for 3 heartbeats. Then the feed came back. He had switched to the front camera. The truck was moving. Fast. "You don't get to hide behind a screen," he yelled. Trees blurred past the windshield. "You don't get to fly home and act like mom of the year." I screamed for him to stop. The speedometer needle climbed 60, 70, 80. Headlights from oncoming cars flashed. He laughed, bitter and broken. "Watch what you did to us." The oak tree appeared out of nowhere. The screen went black on impact. Crunch of metal. Silence. I called 911 from the office chair, voice shaking so hard the operator asked me to repeat everything twice. Gave them the mile marker he'd passed seconds before. Sat frozen until blue lights filled the window. State trooper at the door. He drove me to the hospital in the back of the cruiser, kids still at grandma's. A waiting room smelled like antiseptic and burnt rubber. His crew showed up in muddy boots, faces gray. Doctor came out after 2 hours. Compound femur fracture, broken ribs, concussion, internal bleeding clamped in surgery. Stable, but critical. I asked to see him. Nurse said, he woke up long enough to say no wife allowed. I stayed in the family lounge anyway, curled on a vinyl couch that smelled like bleach. His mom arrived at dawn, took one look at me, and spat. You did this. Security escorted her out after she swung her purse. I texted the other guy. It's over. He replied with a broken heart emoji and a plane ticket refund. I blocked him, deleted every travel app, and smashed my work laptop against the vending machine until the screen shattered. He came home 6 weeks later in a wheelchair, leg in a cage of metal pins, pain meds rattling in his pocket. The kids ran to him, confused by the chair. He hugged them one-armed, eyes fixed on the floor. Slept in the den because stairs were impossible. I took the basement couch, woke every time the morphine pump beeped, offered to help with the bedside commode. He said, I wipe my own ass, thanks. The kids asked why Daddy's leg looked like a robot. I said he fell at work. They believed it. Divorce papers arrived via courier while he was at physical therapy. I signed them on the kitchen counter between dinosaur chicken nuggets and spilled apple juice. He moved into a one-bedroom above his shop, ramp built by his crew in a single weekend. Took the dog, the flat screen, the kids' bunk beds. Left the minivan and the wedding china cracked in the sink. The kids waved from the porch until the truck turned the corner. I stood there until the sun set, arms empty. The house is a cave now. I wander hallways at 2 a.m., touching walls where his muddy boot prints used to dry. Kids leave half their toys at his place. I find stray Pokémon cards under the couch like breadcrumbs. I quit the startup, couldn't face another conference badge. Took a remote data entry job, headphones on, world muted. Grocery runs at midnight when the store is empty. Cashiers don't ask questions. He has the kids Wednesday overnights and every other weekend. Drop off at the shop parking lot under the floodlights. We stand beside rival pickup trucks, kids ferrying backpacks like contraband. He looks older, scar running from knee to hip, limp that whistles when the wind hits. I look like I aged a decade in 6 months. We talk in bullet points. Allergist follow-up, new cleats, dentist cavity. The kids come home smelling like sawdust in his new apartment's lemon cleaner. They ask if Daddy's tree is still broken. I say trees don't break. People do. I deleted every airline mile account. Sold my suitcase at a yard sale for $10. Bought a secondhand bike, instead ride the trail at dawn, legs burning, wind whipping tears off my cheeks. The kids started therapy. I sit in the waiting room reading magazines about strangers' perfect lives. Therapist says affairs are band-aids over bullet wounds. I say, I know. She asks what the wound was. I still don't have an answer. His crew won't bid on jobs near our street anymore. One left a voicemail. Find another landscaper. I mow the lawn myself now. Push mower coughing in the heat. Blisters blooming on my palms. Neighbors wave from behind curtains. I wave back with grass-stained hands. I tried one support group for betrayers, sat in a church basement with folding chairs and stale donuts. A woman said her husband forgave her after he totaled the car in rage. I left before coffee. The kids built a Lego hospital for Daddy's leg, complete with tiny crutches. I took a photo, sent it to him. He replied with a thumbs up. First contact in weeks. I still check the oak tree on Google Maps Street View. Bark scarred white where metal kissed wood. I zoom in until pixels blur. I cook one-pot meals now. Chili, mac and cheese. Kids eat seconds and ask for thirds. Small mercies. I found his work gloves in the garage. Wore them to rake leaves. Fingers too big. Kept them on anyway. Dreams are worst on travel days. Wake up reaching for a suitcase that isn't there. Heart racing like turbulence. I planted tomatoes in the backyard. Kids water them with plastic cups. First green fruit appeared last week. We cheered like it was Christmas. He texted a video. Kids riding bikes in his shop lot. Helmets too big, laughter echoing off metal walls. I watched it 17 times. Saved it. Didn't reply. I started running. Slow miles. Earbuds in, no music. Just breath and pavement. Past the crash site sometimes. Slow to a walk. Touch the bark. Keep moving. The 4-year-old asked if the tree is mad at Daddy. I said trees don't get mad. She said, then why did it bite him? I had no answer. I bought a new phone, same number. No travel apps. Wallpaper is the kid's Lego hospital. I still set the table for 4 out of habit. Catch myself. Eat over the sink. His mom called once. Said he's dating the physical therapist. Quiet, likes kids. I said tell him congrats. Hung up. Threw up in the trash can. I painted the office walls eggshell white. Covered the scuff marks from the desk chair. Still see them when the light hits. I volunteer at the library book sale. Sort romance novels I can't read. Smile at strangers, they smile back. The dog sleeps on his old side of the bed when the kids are gone. Whines at the door at 6 a.m. sharp, his old wake-up time. I stopped apologizing in my sleep. Progress. Divorce final in 30 days. We split the 529 plans. He keeps the business. I keep the house. Kids keep both zip codes. I frame the Lego hospital photo. Hung it in the hallway. See it every morning. I don't know if trust grows back like bark over a scar. But the tomatoes are ripening. And the kids laugh in 2 different houses now. That has to count for something. So tell me, was FaceTiming the confession, cruel cowardice, or the only shield I had left? How do I teach the kids honesty when I'm the cautionary tale? How do I live with the sound of that crash on loop? Drop your raw truth below. I'm listening.